Welcome to Franchise Focus. I'm your host, Lisa Lankowski. I am the owner of Milestone Franchising, and I am a franchise consultant. And Franchise Focus is all about putting the spotlight on those in the franchising industry. And today in studio, I have a very impressive young man who has quite the franchising legacy behind him, and it is also just getting started. And today we have in studio Tim Sickler. Tim, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much for having me, Lisa.
Well, thank you, because I don't know if the audience can see, but look what got brought over here to me, and my family is going to be loving you. So
you're going to be very popular.
Let's just get to it here,
Sure.
Tim. We've got a lot to go over. Franchising in your blood, right?
Yep.
Started back, for a while back. Farming was involved in your background, in your history. Take it from there.
Sure. So my family was farmers for generations until my grandparents at one point had said, they're going to sell the farm in South Jersey. They've been farmers for a long time. And my dad had just been married, and they were looking for something else to do. So he had looked into a business for acoustical cleaning, ceilings, right? And he had done really well with that. And then that led to floor cleaning, carpet cleaning businesses, which was really successful. And they just did such a wonderful job getting out in the area, making the business a really strong business model in our area. But they just did really well. It was really nice to see. And that led to another crux, right? So they were trying to figure out, what can we do? They had seen some opportunities out there, heard some things, and they finally saw this post about Auntie Anne's pretzels. And they were like, let's go look at this little farmer's market out in Pennsylvania, in Dutch, Pennsylvania. So they went out, looked, and they saw this long line for pretzels for 99 cents back in the day, which is like, oh my God, 99 cents for a pretzel now? You're like, that's such a great deal. But they saw this long line of lemonade and pretzels. Like, how could that be? All these people waiting in line just for lemonade and pretzels. And they were just so blown away by the process, everybody freshly making the pretzels and the dough right in front of everybody. It was just, they jumped in. They jumped in with both feet. And it was such a success for them, and led to so much more along the way. Me sitting in the stores, in the back rooms, cutting lemons, squeezing lemons in the back room up at the register. But they were just, it was such a success in our area and in the mall industry at that time, right?
Right.
The malls were so booming in the 80s and 90s.
Oh, yeah.
It was, man, what a wonderful time. It's just led to so many more opportunities.
Right, it's led to Auntie Anne's, then, and I don't know the chronological order, but you've got, your family owns Jamba Juice and Cinnabon, right? So you've got these three quick service restaurant type concepts all in that snacky kind of arena, and a lot of in the mall type space, right?
Yeah.
And you've bought and sold businesses along the way.
Sure, yeah.
And you now are going to have your own franchise,
yeah.
right? And we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
So you've been through all of these different iterations. At what point, where are you at right now? How many different franchises do you and your family own
So
right
let me
now?
take a step back through the process. Originally, franchisees of Auntie Anne's for a really long time. Took that about as far as it went, and we had another concept. Core Brothers Ice Cream, which is pretty popular in the area, and then another coffee concept that's not around anymore. They all had their times for success, and Auntie Anne's at the time had been bought by Focus Brands around 2000, sometime in the early 2000s. And at that point, that led to just more opportunities because Focus Brands has so many other brands like Cinnabon, and then now Jamba Juice, McAllister's, Moe's Southwest Grill, Schlotsky's, Carvel Ice Cream. So having the opportunity to get into those other brands and diversify a little bit was nice. It led us now to a point where at one point we were at 11 Auntie Anne's, down to just a couple, and then now we have 4 Cinnabons, 2 Ginny's cookies and cream, 3 Auntie Anne's, and 1 Jamba Juice.
Okay.
We were in Colorado, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. So we've had just so many different experiences. It's just been so much fun over the years. I mean, I've learned so much from my family. My parents have set such a great example for me, my sister, my kids, their kids. It's just, I couldn't imagine doing anything else in the world right now. We're just so lucky. We really are. It's just been so lucky.
Well, and I love a statement that you just said before, that you said that they were successes for a moment in time, for the moment of the time that you had them.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a healthy way to look at things, because sometimes we think, well, if it doesn't last 90 decades, then it was a failure.
Sure.
No, at that time, you know, I watched Stranger Things, right? And it all takes place in the 80s, and that's all nostalgic. And you look at the mall, and you're like, oh, that's closed, that's closed, that's closed. That doesn't exist, that, right? Auntie Anne's, though, is there, and I think Cinnabon is there. But that's the point, is that things come and then they go, and you and your family have said, okay, we're going to ride it for as long as that is. You're not bitter about it. No. It's what it is. Then you go, okay, well, now there's something else. I also like that you didn't plug it all into one thing and own 50 Jamba Juices.
Right.
I'm sure Jamba Juice right now is going, well, we would have liked that.
Great.
But
yeah.
You're diversifying into different segments, and then you get to see, well, which one works better, which one do you like better, which one, you know, and then grow from there, because you don't know. You know, if you come in and you just start right off the gate signing away to own all these different same exact things, you just don't know.
Yeah, it's all about experience, having that experience with getting into the stores, learning how important location is, building out the location. But if you jump in, it's not a bad thing too. If you have 50 Taco Bells or something like that, it's they do pretty well right now, so I wouldn't mind having something like that. But it's you know, being diversified does help. You get to learn a lot about the same type of business that it is. So you're really not changing too much, but it's you definitely learn a lot about how different businesses work, why they don't work. Just the experience that you can get from that and the strength that you build from that. It's really priceless for someone in my world.
Absolutely. And yeah, the knowledge of it that you get to then take then just builds upon itself for whatever the next business is that you choose to go toward, right? You also noted that there was a concept that was a coffee concept that's no longer here anymore, right? So tell me about, like, what was that like? Was that like just this incredible, you know, loss that your family had, like when that happened and it wasn't successful? How did you all handle that?
It wasn't so bad. I mean, trust me, I love coffee. I mean, if I could have 1,000 coffee stores, I'd be happy, because coffee's wonderful. Making the coffee, having the espresso machine, all types of coffee, talking to people. You know, it's such a fun environment. People are coming in, getting their coffee. You're making their day with that coffee. But it wasn't too bad. It was a mutual thing, honestly. We did our best at that with that brand. And for many reasons, it just didn't work. But, you know, it wasn't like a complete loss. It didn't hurt us too much. And it led to so many more things. I mean, so many failures lead to so many successes, right? We've had so many things that have closed, and we'll get into it in a little bit, then have led us to be so successful and led me on my path today, for sure. Led me on my parents' path. I mean, everybody learns from their failures, and if you don't, you need to keep looking.
Right, and it's a shame, because if you don't learn from it, and if you just turn it into bitterness and anger toward the system that this didn't work out, and you know, and do you take any of the culpability for it not working? Do you guys shoulder any of that, or was it mostly the system that it didn't work, or was it a combination of both?
No, I think we really threw everything at the wall for that brand. It was just, coffee's a tough industry. Yeah. It's pricey. The margins just are really tight. So, and plus being in a mall, rent is kind of another factor too. If your margins aren't great, you can't really be too successful. Right. The product was wonderful. I mean, we loved it. It was a top-notch product. But it just didn't work out. And not bitter about it at all. Really loved it and learned so much from it.
Great.
Yeah.
And you know, oftentimes, and one of the reasons why I do this show, and we talked about this, is talking about those failures is just as important as talking about the success. And sometimes people are super nervous to talk about it. And you were like totally open about it. I'm like, this is really good because people need to hear that. You're going to have failures. Things happen. You don't want it to be you. You would prefer it to be that other person over there.
Right.
But sometimes it does. And you got to dust yourself off and keep on going. All right. Excellent. So you've got all of these different concepts that are out there running. It's a family business. This is, you know, you've got your parents, you've got your sister, you've got you. Is there other family members that are also involved?
I consider our management team my family, for sure.
Okay.
You're my family. But it's, you know, my brother worked in the business for a really long time. He owns his own business, which actually stemmed off from this a little bit.
Okay.
He has a software company that that integrates with POS systems and accounting businesses. So
nice. So yeah, nice tie-in.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
good for him. What's the name of the company?
It's,
we'll give him a shout
it's
out.
Shogo.
Shogo. And
Yeah.
where is he located? Down in South Jersey as well?
So he lives here. His partner lives in Florida.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. And so he took what he learned, created his own business because he saw a niche that needed to be had with
Yep.
the POS system. I love that.
Yeah.
So it's all attributable to the franchise experience.
Absolutely, yeah. He got a lot of experience just doing books, and he was like, there's got to be a better way, right? There's got to be a better way. So he created it.
So before we get into Ginny's,
Sure.
what is the part that you've loved the most in being involved in all these businesses? Your role. What have you gravitated to the most that spoke to you the most in all these roles?
That's a good question. I think it's being a jack of all trades. I think I've learned so much about life, business, relationships, everything, building, learning. You can learn from top to bottom. That's what I really enjoy the most, is just being a jack of all trades, knowing, you know, you can know a little bit about everything and be dangerous and know how to formulate such a business, a fun business. I've just learned so much, really. It's been such a fun experience. Not to say it's not challenging. Of course, there are some challenges that we've had over the past decades, but it's, we really enjoy it. We're such a tight-knit group. We live the business. It's, you know, that's why we have a franchise, or we have something coming that's Ginny's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Ginny's. So let's talk about Ginny's.
Sure.
And we're going to talk about Ginny's. We're going to get all into it. Maybe a snack may be had, maybe not. But we're going to hear a quick word from our sponsor, and then we're going to get right into Ginny's. And you're going to hear from Zoom One Media. Stay tuned.
Aloha! Joe Silva here with Kukua Technologies. I'm excited to see you on Tuesdays on Morning Coffee for our tech tips.
Let's face it, lawyers get a bad rap. I'm Erin Brucey, host of Legal Breakdown, where we dissect legal topics for the everyday viewer, with a mix of interesting guests to talk about current events and hot legal topics. Let's work together to make the law accessible and relevant to everyone. Catch us every week on RVN Television.
A stroke can be easy.
Welcome back to Franchise Focus. There may or may not be a couple of cookies missing from this nice, beautiful display that's right next to me. I am your host, Lisa Lankowski, and sitting with me is Tim Sickler, who is the Vice President of everything, all hats, as we talked about. But he's really the Vice President for Ginny's Cookies and Cream. And the first half of the show, we talked about your family's involvement in several different concepts that you guys own. You've got Auntie Anne's, you've got Jamba Juice, you've got Cinnabon. And now the birth of happening
Yeah.
of Ginny's Cookies and Cream. Tell us all about this concept.
Sure. So I'd like to take it back a little bit further. We had tried another concept that was called Cookie Farm, which was through Auntie Anne's. It was one of their babies. And it just, it didn't work out. And we decided to continue it for a little while. And then we rebranded it. We decided we were trying to come up with a name, like, what could it be? And so my dad finally said, why don't we just go with your mom's name? Let's go with Ginny. So that's my mom, Ginny. So we went with that. We branded it. We did that for a really long time. And we were still using the same process that we had gotten through Auntie Anne's as far as product. And then we finally said, let's stop. Let's rebrand to make it our own the way we really want it. We had done ice cream for custard for a really long time with Core Brothers Ice Cream. And we said these two products, ice cream and cookies, would be perfect together. So we decided to, my sister Jane really took a long time, helped with the design of the store. My mom had these incredible recipes that she had been working on for years. When she was a young married couple, her and my dad, she would make cookies, she'd bag them up, my dad would go sell them at the local colleges. So it was such a fun backstory to that. They had been doing that all that time. Back then it was called Skinny Ginny's Cookies. She would kill me for telling anybody that. But that's what it was called. And we rebranded it as Ginny's Cookies and Cream, ice cream and homemade cookie concept blended together with a few products, but they're really just high grade, high quality ingredients that taste like home, taste like Christmas, taste like they just came out of the oven. It's really just a really fun, delicious, really too delicious treat.
Well, and I'm trying not to get teared up, but ricotta cheese cookies are sitting in this tray, and my mother-in-law, God bless her, she's not with us anymore.
Oh,
She taught me how to make them. It was her favorite recipe. We still make them to this very day.
Yes.
And yeah, it's Christmas.
Yes.
Right, that's it, right? It's the holidays, and whatever holiday, we would make them for baby showers and for everything else, right? And so you're using good quality ingredients and not a ton of chemicals, and it's that taste of home. So you create Ginny's Cookies and Cream. When was it first established?
So 2016 was our first launch with the rebrand. We had one location next to our other concepts.
And where was that?
Deffert Mall.
The Deffert Mall.
Yeah, Deffert, New
'Cause
Jersey.
people are going to be running there to go get their cookies after this, right?
So it took a while for us to formulate, get everything right. You don't want to just jump.
No.
But we had the basic products there. We knew what we wanted. It took a little time to formulate what worked, what didn't work. A little bit of design tweaks for sure. But right now it's kind of a well-oiled machine, and we opened our second location last fall.
And where's that?
And that's at the Gloucester Premium Outlets.
Okay.
And it's a co-brand with Cinnabon.
Nice.
Right next to our other Auntie Anne's there.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about the cream piece. Is this soft serve? Is it the hard pack ice cream?
So it's soft serve. We have 3 machines usually in each store. We have LTO flavors, which right now, pumpkin cinnamon is just ridiculous. Tastes like pumpkin pie. It's so good.
Okay.
And then we'll have other flavors that are throughout the year. But it's 3 soft serve machines, and sometimes we make sandwiches with the cookies. And a lot of people really like that.
Cookie sandwiches.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got these, you've got this location,
Mm-hmm.
and then you say, I'm looking around at my franchises that we own, and you go, I want this to be a franchise. When was that moment that you all decided that this should happen?
It didn't happen in an instant. We had been, I had been recovering from shoulder surgery this past year and had been home a lot, so couldn't do too much. It just kind of hit me. We were all kind of building towards this. I was like, when are we going to do it? What's the best time? Best times, there's never a best time. If any of you people out there are thinking, when's going to be the best time? It's never the best time. You just have to jump in and do it.
Got to jump in.
And so I had got a contact, one of my acquaintances, and I met you, and we had talked, and then you had talked and said, I know this guy. I happen to know this guy, Steve. He's a great guy. Maybe we should talk to him. So got talking to him, And then it was like, oh my gosh, this could be really serious.
So we're going to back up a moment.
Yeah.
So Justin Deal, shout out to Justin. He put us together.
Yes.
Then I put you together with SMB Advisories. Shout out to Frank and to Steve Beagleman,
Yes.
right? And so you talk with them, and this is what they do. And Steve's been on this show. They take brands and they grow them across the country and they replicate it. So you are now signed with SMB, and
That's
now
right.
you are going to be taking this and making it an official franchise. And what does that mean? What does that look like? What's the process? What's the timing? So many questions.
Right, there's so much. We kind of wanted to make sure we're making the right decision as a family, so always make the decisions together. We had vetted some other companies just to make sure it was right, but we just kept coming back to Steve every time, and just everybody just felt, this just feels right. Sometimes you just have to go with your gut. And it worked really well for us. We're so happy. They have a rock star team. It is from the biggest brands across the world.
Yeah.
He has on his team. It's so comforting to have their experience. And I think it's a little bit of both with them too. They're comforted with our experience since we've been franchisees for 30 years.
Right.
Well, my parents have, but yeah. But having that experience, bringing it together, we just feel that it's, it's like, is this really? Sometimes I pinch myself, or I'm like, is this really happening right now that we're making Jenny's a franchise? And we are, and we're doing it with the help of Steve and the whole team there. They're just, man, it's been so great. So we're getting ready to have our FDD. We're in the process of putting it together, FDD.
And that's a franchise disclosure document,
Yes.
for those that do not know what an FDD is. And that is a document that all franchises across the board have to have. It's a Federal Trade Commission requirement, and it has the nuts and bolts of what your business is going to be about, what you're expecting from your owners, and what the owners should be expecting from you. And so you're working on that right now.
Right. And like with our approach with anything, we don't want to just, okay, we're going to sell franchises in 2 months.
Right.
We want everything to be right. We want it to be ready for the franchisee themselves, because if I sell them a half-baked product, it's not going to be great for them.
No pun intended.
No. So
Right, and then you fail before you even got started.
Absolutely.
So you cannot do that.
And the thing that we've learned and has been echoed by Steve and his whole team is that we're here to support the franchisee for their success.
Right.
If they're successful, everybody's successful. We've seen that in other brands and concepts, and even the concepts, that we've been involved in the past. It's just if the attention is not there for success for the franchisee, everything's going to go downhill. But
Absolutely. So what's your timeline? Do you have
Sure.
a timeline, or is it just
So,
constantly moving?
well, it's always moving,
Yes.
but I'd say tentatively next May is when
Okay.
we're looking to launch as a full brand. I wouldn't feel comfortable before then. We still are franchisees of other brands,
Right.
So we have to get through the holiday season and just make sure everything's perfect. I've met so many wonderful people along the way. I've been blown away. I've been blown away by the process so far. Everybody from top to bottom. Harold Kestenbaum, little shout out to him. He is a wonderful guy with a wealth of knowledge. And everybody on Steve's team, James, and everybody on their team. It's just been so great.
Yeah, well, I say they're the GOAT of
Yeah.
franchise development. I mean, yeah, that's it. You're in really good hands. So, and I introduced
thank you
you
for
to,
that.
Well,
Yeah,
no, I introduced
really.
you to several different groups, and I said, go try them each out, go
Yeah.
talk to them, and see, and then land on who you feel most comfortable, because you're going to be working really closely with each other for a while, and then hopefully for past that, as they help you to develop your business, this is an ongoing relationship. So you want to feel really good about it, and this is no easy endeavor. Like you said, this is not just flip a switch and make it happen.
No.
You have to really be deliberative, and you've got to be very careful and cautious, but at the same time have a roadmap so that you can see that success.
Yeah, we don't take this lightly, but it's so exciting. It's so hard to not be excited. I mean, me, my mom, my sister, my dad, we catch ourselves every now and again. We're like, is this really going to happen? Do you think we'll sell any? I was like, I think we have a chance.
And your mom is Jenny, and what's your
Yeah.
dad's name?
So it's Mel.
Mel. So
Yeah.
Mel and Ginny,
Yeah.
shout out to you because, you've raised quite a great guy here, and
thank you.
and you said you owe all of this to them, and
I do, yeah.
the fact that they took this leap long ago to sit here and create this legacy for all of you, and then it could be for generations.
Yeah, it's definitely changed my life, my children's life, and maybe their children, I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really incredible. All right, we're going to get all teary-eyed sitting here talking about this because it's really exciting, and it's really wonderful to watch this, and then to see how it's going to blossom, and then I, as a franchise consultant, get to represent your concept one day. Like, it's all great. All right, so let's talk about some other things. So being young. And I'm going to come back to that. And it's probably annoying. And you're like, I'm not young, stop it. But you are. You're younger in this business, and having so much depth already at this point in time. And a lot of it's because you came into it.
Yeah.
People that are out there, young people especially, young people are saying no thank you to the corporate space. They are saying that in droves, and they are making it a resounding. They're not happy with this. They don't want the lifestyle that their parents had of living and working, and all they represent is their work and nothing else, and nothing, there's no in between. And they're going, no, we don't want that. And so they're gravitating more toward business ownership. Words of advice for those young people out there that are considering going into the franchise, buying a franchise and being a part of it.
Yeah, so I'd have to say, one, like I've been saying, it can change your life. You're going to live it, though. If you want to be successful at it, you better live it from top to bottom. The flexibility that does give you in your life is very rewarding. To be with your family all the time, which is nice. I'm with my family all the time. We work together all the time. I'd say, just make sure when you're looking, if you're out there looking at a franchise or a different type of business, just try to see how sustainable it can be throughout. We've been through a bunch these past years, even in the last couple decades. I know I'm young, but I have been in the stores and in the business since I was really little. I've seen a lot of businesses come and go, and that's not a bad thing, but it's just, make sure you think it's sustainable, make sure you love it. Make sure you love it, and listen to your gut. I mean, honestly, I've made so many decisions over my life. If I've listened to my gut and made the bad decision, that's so be it. But more than not listening to your gut, you're going to be happy in the end.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what a way to end the show. I could talk for a long time. We're going to have you back on next May when you're ready to kick butt
I would
and
love
start
that. Thank
having
you so much.
franchisees coming on board with your concept. So until then, if you're in Jersey, be sure to run down to the South Jersey malls so that you can get yourself some Ginny's cookies, and also go and visit your other locations that are down there. This has been great. Thank you so much,
Thank
Jim.
you so much for having
Thank you
me.
for the beautiful gift of cookies. And sorry, guys, I don't get to share with you, but this is Franchise Focus, and we air every Friday at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And I'm your host, Lisa Lankowski. You can learn more about me at milestonefranchising.com.